Hey guys, welcome to P&T Portfolio Talk. I'm in the media studio in the library, room 210, working with Jenna, who's been an awesome partner with Portfolio Work. And today I'm joined by...
I'm Lauren Wallace. I'm the metadata and cataloging librarian at the UA and APU Consortium Library.
So, Lauren, remind me, are we here to do all sorts of research on books, or are we here to talk about P&T stuff?
P&T.
So the reason, and Lauren, thank you for coming and talking. The reason I reached out to you is I've been doing promotion and tenure portfolio files for a number of years, supporting it through the role I do as well as Jenna. And I've never had the number of people come up to me from UFAC and say, you need to talk to Lauren. You need to talk to Lauren. Literally the best portfolio we have seen in years. And in one context, your colleague, Daria, came and said the best portfolio she has seen during her tenure on UFAC. So congratulations. And so when I came down to kind of reach out to you, I had her reach out because it was peer-to-peer. You were kind enough, one, to show your portfolio, so we made a copy of that. We'll have that kind of next to our video so people can see. But two is, you and I began talking about, how you began this process, what you kind of thought about. And I love, and having been working with librarians in Minnesota for many years, I appreciate how librarians' minds are wired for organization. So, but talk a little bit about how you organized your portfolio.
Yeah, so one of the big challenges for me is that I'm a non-teaching faculty. So a lot of the templates that were provided aren't necessarily applicable to my position. I have colleagues that don't fully understand what I do. And I was a little baffled about, well, how do I explain it to people that aren't even in the library field or know library jargon? We have 1.5 million acronyms for everything. And then my job is particularly complex as well. But surface level can appear easy because when things are going right, no one notices, but they notice when things go wrong.
Right.
So as far as organization, I was just kind of trying to figure out how I can kind of match like the teaching bit, because for librarianship, that is our teaching practice. Right. So attempting to map some of the big portions of my job duties, which is just providing discovery and access, original cataloging, and then also I do some teaching, but not here at UAA necessarily. I do provide like training and support for our UAA and all of the University of Alaska. But the library is part of a consortium and is actually the home of the consortium for the Alaska Library Catalog, which houses, I think it's like 89. I'm probably wrong on the numbers. But it is a significant portion of the state's libraries, museums, archives, special collections. We even have schools on there as well. It's a shared catalog. So it's one of the largest consortiums of its type. So trying to manage data is kind of what I do. But I do one-on-one trainings with librarians across the state. Sure. So it was just trying to figure out how to organize all of that. And I think some of the best advice that I got was actually during one of the P&T summer sessions of being consistent with the headings. Yeah. And if I have a drop-down menu, one of the decisions I made was to not have the header be clickable. So that way people couldn't just like click. Correct. And then miss all the evidence that was listed under. And then in a previous career of mine, a past life, I guess, I have some web design experience as well. And, information architecture is really important to librarians.
Yes, it is.
Pretty much my whole job. You have about 3 clicks before someone's going to get frustrated.
Hear that, guys? Remember, I told everyone 3 clicks. Now you have the experts say also the same thing.
Yeah, you have about 3 clicks before someone gives up. Yep. And then they get frustrated, and then they miss half of your evidence and stuff. So I didn't want to do anything on any of my navigation bars deeper than like a 3-tier level. And I tried to keep it to the like best of my examples. I didn't show everything that I've done, but I tried to highlight the biggest things, the most collaborative things, summaries of my projects that are ongoing.
When people ask what makes for a good portfolio, and you usually talk about 4 different elements. One is the organization. Can people navigate, and can you get them to the right spot? One of the reasons I like working with librarians, because your mind is based on organization. Is the content appropriate? And you already talked about that, the curation. It's not everything. It is the work that best exemplifies what you're doing. Then how do you kind of present it through kind of almost a story lens on some of those components? And with that story, obviously, you expect elements of grammar and syntax. Complete sentences are good things. Paragraphs are good things. I remind these students too, paragraphs, they're good things. But we're human beings, and there's also a visual element. So when people look at your site, it comes through as a story. And even the background, the colors, the multimedia elements you picked, it's really well done, Lauren.
Thank you. I think I have Kathy Wisser really to thank. She was one of my professors at Simmons College in Boston, but she has a whole mantra about the 5-3-1 rule for presentations. So whenever you're doing a presentation, you really want someone to focus on what you're saying and not necessarily a wall of text. So you have like 5 bullet points, 3 images max, 1 topic, right? So trying to figure out and narrow all of that and not just have giant walls of text. I mean, there's definitely like I have a statement of philosophy, not pages.
Yep.
But then when I started getting into my evidence, I really liked using the slideshow feature, the gallery.
That allows you to have a lot of content in a very tight space.
Yeah, and some of the best advice I got was actually from Paige Brannon, who's our head of reference here. She highly recommended using the captions to kind of, state why that evidence was there, why it was important. So when I was kind of demonstrating for my original cataloging, like I'm essentially a computer coder, but the coding I use is from 1960s. So, but people aren't going to necessarily understand, what this coding is or what these fields are, what it means, and why I'm demonstrating this record. So having a brief caption or a little paragraph right next to it, just kind of like highlighting like, this is why this is important. So trying to communicate that was really challenging. And that's why I use the captions and highlighting like, this is why this is here. So the people that know, like my peers during the peer review committee, they'll understand what they're looking at, sort of.
Sure, as well as your dean. As you go up, the dean would, but when you start going into UFAC, where now we have multiple disciplines involved.
Yeah, multiple disciplines that are like, this is just a lot of words and a wall of text. And what are all these numbers for? And
well, like I said, librarian or not, your site's a good example for any and all faculty with the UAA. So if you're looking at this, don't think just, well, that's the librarian. No, the work you've done is really, really good.
Sheer panic.
And the other thing that when you and I were kind of talking about this was not a slapdash, let's get it done in 48 hours and call it finished.
No, actually my first year here, I signed up. So my background actually is in government libraries. So I was working for the State Library of Vermont as their technical services librarian. So different background, not academic. And my experience before that was public libraries, which is a different beastie altogether. So I wasn't in the academic world before. So the regulations are different, the procedures are different. The idea of having to document everything I've ever done and not just turn it in monthly and then just be done with it. But having to have that monthly, and then it was a little overwhelming for me. So I signed up for that first summer P&T course, and I just kind of like lurked in the background. And then that really helped me kind of get an idea of like, okay, what documentation do I need to save? Like, what do I need to keep an eye out for? So I just started saving like thank you emails, letters, final product, like products of projects,
Sure.
Any sort of like pamphlet or anything I produced and published. Yep. And I just kind of tucked it away in a file. So it was like, okay, I saved it and yep. I don't have to worry about it. But I think I worked on the file for about 6 to 9 months, just doing like a couple hours a week, sure. Really just kind of highlighting the like bones and navigation and just making sure I had all the documentation I needed. And then I really started digging in that summer before.
Right.
So, and that's when it helped. And then I know for my brain, I wanted to figure out a like theme first. Yeah. Because trying to go back and edit or change or like do sure. any sort of design stuff elements was a nightmare in Digication. And no offense. No. Yeah. But Digication does have a feature where like you set like your preferences.
Sure.
And then you can apply it to anything that you do moving forward. So in regards to like, it's the same for font and right. color and all of that. So I just kind of played around with that and then started
and I tell
dumping.
People the tool is what is. And every tool we've ever used, whether it be cataloging tools or whatever, has pros and cons on how you learn stuff. And some people will say it's too complicated and others say it's too simple. And having worked with Digication over the years, they try to hit that middle ground between people that may struggle with limited browser knowledge or use and those that do, advanced. I got computer science faculty that do advanced coding. It's like, this is, guys.
Yeah.
No,
it's definitely like a website builder.
It's much like a website.
Yeah.
It's got some of those overlaps for how you build out a website.
Yeah. Essentially, it's a website about me
yeah.
and the work that I've done.
Yep.
So, which feels arrogant when you're doing it, but it's, I don't know, at the end product, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, actually, I have done a lot.
It's not really arrogant. It's just being proud about what we've done and sharing it in a way that tells the story. So really, I didn't, when I looked at your site, which really is amazing, it doesn't come off as arrogant at all. It comes off as just something you're proud about the work, and you've organized it in a really good way to tell that story.
Thank you.
So, as we move forward, now you are housed in the library, so if you have colleagues that might be interested to stop by, and I'll say it this way, if they're interested to stop by and buy you a cup of coffee at Kaladi's downstairs, I have a hunch you might say, sure, I'd be happy to meet with you for a couple minutes and give you some thoughts and feedback.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
So, Lauren, thank you for joining us today. This is, as I said, this is our first Talking P&T portfolio. So thanks for sharing, and thanks for being willing to be open about other people looking at the work you've done as a way to guide and help and maybe inspire them to do a better job.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
For faculty or student support with eWolf, contact the Instructional Media Studio at 907-786-4850, by email at uaa_instructionalmedia@alaska.edu, or book an appointment online at bit.ly/uaa_instructionalmedia.